Is it possible to put on a magic show with items from the dollar store? Let's get into that right now. Welcome to the video. If you enjoy learning magic tricks and engaging in discussions of magic, be sure to subscribe as I post about twice per week. Some of the tools I use in my videos, I have or have had a affiliate link for. I earn a commission if you purchase that through my link, and all my relevant connections will be posted at that link. Check out my merch store and my exclusive membership if you want to dive even deeper. But for now, let's get into the video. So a while ago, my wife challenged me to the idea of letting her pick out some things for me at a store and then me trying to make magic tricks out of it. So we went together to Dollar Tree on like a random Thursday or weekend, and we went, and the deal was that she could pick out some things and I could pick out some things, and we would see kind of what we came up with. My goal was initially to use every single thing she chose, but I'm gonna admit some of my losses on things that I just couldn't make work in this experiment. But I was able to come up with a nice little sort of 3-trick set, and I'm gonna walk through each of those for you. You're gonna see the performances. I'm gonna show you how each of them are done. So you're actually gonna learn 3 tricks with items you can just get at the dollar store. But if you're new here, my name is Michael. I am a magician, and I like to call myself a hobbyist magician, in that it's just been a passion and joy of mine for many years. Now, you can actually book me if you'd like to see me for an event or show, but I still consider myself a hobbyist at heart and consider others to do so as well when it comes to their passions, whether it's magic or anything else. So if you like that ethos, if you're into that sort of thing, especially when it comes to learning magic tricks and magic discussions, that's what I'm about here. So as we were exploring Dollar Tree, like I said, I started to notice some things that even if my wife wasn't game to make that one of her purchases, I wanted to pick that up and talk about it later. So we both came away with some different things. So let me just go ahead and show you kind of the haul of different things that we got. All right, so first things first, we have these little card games. These actually came in like a large sleeve box. These multiple little card games, like obviously you can tell they're kind of meant for kids or young children to learn some basic educational elements. So we have like build a word game, we have shapes and colors, things like that. So obviously this would work most best for like a kids show or performing for kids, but I think if you steer it right, you could use it in experiments or tricks with other people as well. But the main idea behind this was I could not find a normal deck of cards at the dollar store, or at least I thought I couldn't. I also was really hoping that maybe we'd be able to find magic trick sets themselves. I know that would have just been like setting me up maybe too easily, but I was curious because back in the day growing up, I would find $1 magic tricks at the dollar store, and my parents would get them for me. That was just as I was getting into magic, and it was really helpful. So let me know if that's true for you. I feel like maybe it just depends on the day. I really hope dollar stores still have those little, cheap, yes, but you learn some things in a cheap little magic set. So I got this just in case we wouldn't have cards, but then as we were leaving, this was later, just at the very end of our trip, I found a deck of cards. So this is really cool. I didn't know this was a thing with Bicycle, although I've seen it from other companies. These are called factory seconds, and basically the idea is that they might have a defect. The way it says it on the back is they are new, but they have either a minor printing error, slight discoloration, or a small imperfection that occurred during production at the factory. So it's kind of just a disclaimer that these might have something wrong with them. My copy, unless I'm just not noticing it, my copy was perfect. So these are $1.25. I think that's the price that most items go for now. Instead of, it used to be $1, now it's $1.25. But I thought this was a really cool thing, and it did fit the requirements of the challenge that as far as I can tell, if you go to a Dollar Tree, you can find a deck of cards, which obviously opens up so many possibilities. We also got this glitter, and this is what my wife was most excited about. And going in, before we even started shopping, she was telling me that if I could make a trick with glitter somehow, she would be really excited. So I already had an idea going into it of what I would do with this. And so I did make that my closer. And then a last thing we used was a sort of plush, squishy, like foamy thing. It's almost like the same material that like a foam football would be made of, but it was like a cute character. And I had an idea for that as well. So at the end of the day, these cards, the plushie, and the glitter were really all I needed to formulate the main things. Now there were also envelopes at the dollar store and some different like stationary items, and a lot of those can be really helpful in magic tricks. And so what I did was I also allowed myself to use a small envelope prop that I had already made at home. The idea being though that you could pick that up from the dollar store if you wanted to. So it's a little cheating there. I already had paper envelopes at home, but you can get them at the dollar store. And there's one other sneaky item that is going to go into this trick, but I'm going to talk about that in the tutorial. And yes, you can get it at the dollar store. I have a few items before us that you picked out for me at the dollar store. Well, these you let me get at the dollar store. But we're gonna do them one at a time. So here we go. You ready for your first trick?
I'm so ready.
Got these, these are shapes and colors cards.
Love it.
That we found at the Dollar Tree. So Sydney, you can see the different options, right?
I can.
They're literally shapes and colors. So I'm just gonna start dealing these out, and at any point you can tell me when to stop.
Stop.
That's great. It's not a full deck of 52, so we'll eliminate those. And let's see, 1, 2, or 3?
3.
All right, we'll eliminate 3 out of the middle, and that'll leave us just enough. I still need enough to do 4 piles was the idea. So pretty random, just get rid of cards, end up with a banana, a triangle, some blueberries, and some grapes, but they're represented by the color or shape they're saying here. So come in and get a close look at these. You see these here?
Yes.
So we have blue, purple, triangle, yellow, and could have ended up in all these other ones. Now you might notice some similarities here, like some shapes
have the same color.
Have the same color, whatever. The other thing I didn't tell you though, is that all of these cards in this deck actually have a mate. You see like a green and a green, and a red would go with a red, blah, blah, blah. Can you see the mate to any one of these cards we ended up at?
No.
Nice. Then I
Not
think
a 1.
your choices worked out pretty well, because look. We've got blue, purple, triangle, yellow.
That was pretty
Not
magical.
bad.
That was pretty magical.
Trick number 1. So for the first trick, I used, like I said, one of these card games, and one of them was a pure matching of shapes and colors. It was this one right here. And now you can do this with a normal deck of cards, but I just wanted to vary it up with this. And what I did was a simple reverse deal force. So like you saw, it was a simple sort of like prediction of, you have a deck full of duplicates basically, right? There's only 2 triangles, 2 squares, 2 whatever. And so I set aside a prediction of a few different things, and then I wanted to make sure that I could force those few things on my wife. So the way you force them, and I'll have some POV footage so that you can see it here, is let's say you're forcing 2 or 3 things. You're gonna have your participant or yourself deal down cards, and once they've dealt one by one the first few cards, which are your force cards, you can then have them deal in piles or from the bottom. So it's this little psychological shift. You go from, hey, just deal one by one, and then you allow them more freedom and you allow them more freedom. That way, when they remember it, the psychological idea is that it was very chaotic and random, and they don't remember the fact that you actually waited for them to deal down a few cards one by one and then go into it. From there, they can stop where they want. And then from there, you can deal them into the 2 or 3 piles, depending on how many cards you are forcing one by one. So in their head, again, the way this is going is they just kind of randomly mixed these cards onto the table and then stopped, and then took what they had and made 3 piles out of it. So that chaotic mixture of going back and forth is going to hide the fact that you are basically reverse dealing, hence the name, back to those force items. So with a regular deck of cards, you can use this to, like I said, force a couple cards. You could use it to force all 4 aces, which kind of makes it feel like the audience found the aces, right? Which is really cool. In this case, the one limitation was how small these cards were, right? So I kind of had to freestyle the feeling of how it turned out. There's just so few cards that you don't get that full feeling that you would with a 52 card deck. But I did want to kind of use this for an experiment that I feel like with these educational things, it made sense to do something a little more mentalism-y or procedure-y, if that makes sense, of let's deal some cards and let's see how they match up. Obviously, if you know normal sleight of hand, like doing a double lift, doing ambitious card routine, you could do that with an Uno deck or any of these educational decks. And we have a treasure trove of card tricks and sleight of hand card tricks on this channel. And so if you picked up an Uno deck or something like this, you could apply any of those to that. But that was just a little warm up to get us started here.
Stop.
Perfect. We've got a card. And what I want you to do is help me rip this card up.
Can I rip it?
You can rip it yourself if you'd like.
I need probably one of your hands.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do.
Two.
It's like a wishbone. It's actually really hard. Here, you want me to get us started?
Okay.
Pull. Perfect. And let's do it again right here.
Yep. 1, 2,
3. All right, perfect. Now the trick's over. You own these cards. Okay, I have an envelope as well that I'm going to place these in. But before I place them in, I want you to like mix up their order a little bit. All right, and just dump them inside for me.
I can do that.
Dump them in, dump them in, dump them in. And I want you to hold one hand out for me if you're able to. All right, I'm gonna hold one of those out there. And this is gonna be like a receipt, okay? Now, you've placed these in, you rip them yourself.
Yep.
What's a good magic word that you have that you could bestow us with?
Boo-boo.
Boo-boo. And it becomes some not quite glitter yet.
Confetti.
So the question becomes,
Cat safe confetti.
what became of your card, right?
What happened?
What do you think? Do you have a guess?
I think it became circles. I think. Oh.
I didn't think about how horrific this would look. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
But
Oh no.
Inside here. Well, you.
Oh
no. Look.
Oh. Hi.
Pull that out.
The poor squishy. Wow.
And let's take a look. Card to squishy.
Dude, that was impressive.
Yeah, what'd you think of that one?
That was very, very nice.
So for this, I used the regular deck of cards, and I also used a quicker and more regular card force. If you're comfortable with a little bit of sleight of hand, it's called the Riffle Force, and we taught it recently on this channel. But in brief, you're gonna cut that force card into the middle, and then you're gonna keep what is called a pinky break under your pinky so that you still have access to that card. Riffle the cards from the front, and now you invite them to say stop. Wherever they say stop, it doesn't matter. What you actually do is you pick up at the break. Your front fingers, they're gonna kind of like hide the exact place that you're picking up at, and it happens so swiftly that in a smooth motion, it's gonna look like you cut to where they stopped you. They can select that card, and now you're moving on. So next we had the card torn up, and then I used a piece as a receipt basically for when the card reappeared later. So how did we make that work? Well, first of all, to have the card appear in the plushie, I went to the seam on the bottom side of the plushie because I felt like that was somewhere where we wouldn't see it as much, right? I tore a piece from a duplicate card, so you do need a duplicate card for this. You might need to get a couple deck of cards from the dollar store if you're doing this. You're gonna roll up that card in a little tube and you're gonna stick it in the plushie. Then all you have to do is glue, I keep calling it a plushie, I know it's like a squish toy, whatever. You're gonna glue that back together. So the reason we use the seam on the underside is to keep it as away from kind of scrutiny as possible. And then what you can do when you open it up later is tear at that point if you'd like. So back to the present moment, they're going to tear up that card and they're going to hold it in their hand, and you're going to have that extra corner from the other card in your pocket. While they're tearing up the card, you get it into what's called a finger palm, and that's where you're holding it in your fingers, but you're kind of able to have your thumb free, you're able to reach for it and grab things, and you just have it casually there. And you're gonna reach forward as though you're grabbing one of the pieces, and then you're going to produce basically the piece from behind your fingers, and now you have that piece and it looks like you've taken it from their torn pieces. The next prop we're using is called a double envelope or switch envelope. So to make this, you're cutting out one side of a normal envelope and putting it into another envelope. Now, an extra step I took is I cut those top flaps, but there's actually multiple ways you can use this. And so if you want to see a fuller breakdown of it, I'll have a linked video. So now you have two compartments, and on one of them, I just prepared some paper confetti. Now you can get some different colored paper from the dollar store. You can cut it up into small slivers, and that's a fun thing that you can make something turn into. The reason I'm doing that is because I don't want to just purely vanish. If I purely vanish the card, it brings too much attention to the envelope. So if you have something else it can turn into, that helps you kind of move through it and not have so much focus on the envelope. So we put the torn pieces in one compartment of the envelope, we close it up, we do a little magic gesture, and then all you have to do is use your fingers to kind of open to the other side of the envelope, and you're gonna dump that paper confetti in their hands, and you're gonna briefly show there's nothing else inside before you go to your pocket with the envelope. So now that you've made the object vanish, or I guess turn into confetti, you can then open it in your secret location, which in this case is this sort of squishy thing. Okay, and last but not least, and this was the favorite, was the trick that used glitter. Just go ahead and say stop for me somewhere.
Stop.
All right, I'm gonna give you a look at that card.
Yep.
All right, I want you to imagine that card being burned into your mind, not violently, but just, it's in there, right?
Okay, it's in.
Okay. Pick one.
Oh, you know which one. Green.
Green, okay. Are you sure?
I'm so sure.
All right. This does not come off of skin easily. So the things
worth it,
we
worth
do
it.
for magic.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry. It's hard to, I want to make sure it
this
stays
is so
on.
fun.
Although I probably don't have to worry about
Do
it
I get
staying
some
on.
too?
Would you like some?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, before I do anything, do you want to mix any colors, or do you want just
Pink.
this color? All right, I'll have pink as well. You still remember your card?
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna use our trash can. So I probably should have removed the trash. All right, let's see if this goes. Just focus on your card. Seven of diamonds.
7 of diamonds. Hey, absolutely love it. This is magical.
So I could put some on your arm if you want, but I don't know if it'll reveal any.
right. My arm isn't magical.
But how cool does that look?
It's so cool.
That came out better than I even thought.
Dude.
It's actually fun to mix the glitter.
It's so fun.
As well.
You can get any colors.
So if you're familiar with it, this is using the ash on arm trick, or you can do it with salt, you can do it with sugar. I think the most organic way to do it in real life is to use like a sugar packet from a coffee shop. But for a show, or for someone who you know really likes glitter, glitter did work for this. So that secret item I mentioned earlier is just a tube of chapstick. You apparently can also use bars of soap, just anything that's going to be invisible-ish that you can hide on your arm and apply ahead of time. So I'm just able to apply ahead of time the 7 of diamonds onto my arm. Now it might still shine a little, but chapstick is really easy because you presumably might just be able to carry that around with you, on you, and then secretly prep it on your arm before you want to perform. So then you force the card, and we've discussed a couple forces already, and then just keep your arm face up, put that glitter on it, kind of shake it onto it, and then you can blow off the glitter that is not attached, and it'll look like the image is just coming into view. And then when it comes to getting the glitter off, now if you do this with salt, pepper, or sugar, those will just kind of rub off, and then you can kind of wipe yourself off with a napkin. Glitter would not come off, and so I looked up online and learned that it helps to use like a lint roller and roll that on your arm. It's honestly not comfortable, so don't hurt yourself, but that is how you can clean up after that. So do be aware that the glitter is very fun and vibrant, but you do have that reality you have to contend with if you're going to use it. So this was a ton of fun for us to do. It was a ton of fun to talk through with you, so I hope you got some fun but also value out of this. So let me know which of these tricks was your favorite below, and if you could do real magic, what's something you would do with something from the dollar store? For me, I would make a bag of chips, like an infinite chip bag. That would be pretty nice. But let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.